कि कल 10 बज के 48 मिनट लगेगा या 16 तारीख को 11 बज के कुछ मिनट तक चलेगा। एक और बोला पूछा मैं उसे बोला कि वैसे तो पंचमी लग गई है, लेकिन वो माना जाता है अगर नहाना है तो होने से स्टार्ट मतलब है नहाना चाहिए।
Today is one of the most auspicious bathing days at the Maha Kumbh Mela. My friend Tom Roth and I rose before dawn to take a dip in the Sangam, the confluence of the Ganges, Yamuna, and the mythical Saraswati rivers. This is the Tirtharaj, the king of pilgrimage sites. Lord Brahma, one of the three gods of the Hindu trinity, is believed to have performed yagya to purify the atmosphere when he created the universe. This is also referred to as Prayag, the place of purification. Kumbh means pitcher and Mela means fair in Sanskrit. This pilgrimage is held about 6 weeks at each of 4 places in India every 3 years in rotation. It is believed that drops of nectar fell at these places from the kumbh carried by gods after the sea was churned. Bathing in these rivers is thought to cleanse one of all sins. While the Kumbh Mela takes place every 3 years, the Maha Kumbh Mela takes place only once every 144 years. This festival is billed as the world's largest congregation of religious pilgrims. There's no precise method of counting, but it is estimated that over 100 million people attended. We met world-renowned Vedic astrologer Pandit Dinashandra Sati, who explained the importance of bathing at the Tirtharaj. He refers to emancipation and liberation as moksha, and the nectar of immortality or soma as amrita.
Yes, Sangam. Sang means together. Gam, go together. That is the Sangam, means Yamuna river comes from there, Ganga comes from the north, Hardwar, and Saraswati is between. It means 3 rivers become there together to purify, to give enlightenment and moksha for everyone. They will overcome from sin, 7 generation sin. Their 7 generation will feel happy. If you drink little Sangam water, it's just like Amrita. This is the Sangam.
Oh, good.
And that is the power of Ganga.
Oh, we went for hours every day. We went, when we first got there, we would go across the river and we would walk for 5 hours through the main streets and all the alleyways of the Mela. I mean, it was divine madness. It was divine madness on a scale that's just unimaginable. We were in there for the day where there were 31 million people.
A beautiful, nourishing softness. Different from other water. The water felt cold, which it was, but it didn't feel cold in a bad way at all. It felt very invigoratingly nourishing and embracing, and very sweet. And dunking was a little scary. Here we go. It wasn't like, do you want to do this? It was just, here's what we're going to do. And the dunking happened, and we dunked 3 times. And it felt awesome.
We have followed in the footsteps of Mark Twain, who attended a Kumbh Mela in 1895 on his first visit to India. The movement and pageantry of hundreds, thousands, and millions of people to the Sangam for the simple purpose of bathing in sacred waters is unforgettable. After visiting the Kumbh Mela, Mark Twain wrote, "It is wonderful, the power of a faith like that can make multitudes upon multitudes of the old and weak and the young and frail enter without hesitation or complaint upon such incredible journeys and endure the resultant miseries without repining. It is done in love, or it is done in fear. I do not know which it is. No matter what the impulse is, the act born of it is beyond imagination. I had dreamed about attending a Kumbh Mela and walking along the Ganges River at the Prayag, and in Varanasi, the oldest and holiest city in India for years. This journey was an immersion into one of the world's greatest living spiritual traditions. We will visit some of India's greatest temples, one of the wonders of the world, and connect with great saints. The first part of my journey was to catch a ride from Iowa to Chicago. We caught a flight from Chicago to Abu Dhabi, home of one of my favorite flight towers in the world. After a short layover, a final flight to India. Our first stop was a visit to the tomb of the Mughal Emperor Humayun in Delhi. This was the first garden tomb on the Indian subcontinent. Work was started in 1569 and predates the Taj Mahal. It was the first structure to use red sandstone on a grand scale. Across Delhi, we visited the nine-sided Lotus Temple of Baha'i that was completed in 1986. Noted for its flower-like shape, it serves as the mother temple for the Baha'i faith in India. This house of worship is a gathering place where people of all religions may worship God without denominational restrictions. No sermons can be delivered, and there can be no ritualistic ceremonies of any kind. On our way to Agra, we stopped in Mathura, one of the holiest cities in India and birthplace of Krishna. However, it is prohibited to bring cameras into sacred temples. Other than the picture of the main gate, we were unable to provide images or video footage of this magnificent temple.
Dig out the white marble and dig out and cavity and fix it the stone. It's called the mosaic work. Secondly, look at the flowers, leaves, roots and the branches. These all are the single piece marble because that time nobody used a computer, machinery, electric machineries. That time was used only high temper iron chisel and hammer. The help of the iron chisel and hammer, cut off marble, make a design.
The Taj Mahal was built by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan in memory of his third wife, Mumtaz Mahal, a Persian princess who died during the birth of their 14th child. It is the crown of palaces. It took 2 decades to build, starting in 1632. The calligraphy on the Great Gate reads, "Old soul, thou art at rest. Return to the Lord at peace with him, and he at peace with you."
Om Namo Narayana with वासुदेवाय धीमहि ॐ नमो नारायणाय विद्महे वासुदेवाय धीमहि.
One of my favorite side trips that we took on Valentine's Day to the Tantric temples of Khajuraho and the love waters of Pandav Falls in a tiger preserve. We thought it was a 2 to 3 hour drive, not the all-day marathon, despite our driver driving like a madman. The love waters refers to the heart-shaped lake. The falls were named for the 5 Pandava brothers from the epic poem Mahabharata. The brothers took refuge here, hidden deep in the forest after they were exiled. All 5 brothers married and shared the same wife, Draupadi. Our accommodations here were a 5-star resort that included Ayurvedic massages. It is one of the stops on the Maharajas Express train tour of India. These are the temples of Khajuraho, delicately sensual and unabashedly erotic. You could hear the giggling of Japanese tourists when they viewed these 10th to 12th century masterpieces. The temples were forgotten and remained untouched by the Islamic Mughals and the British until a Victorian colonel in khaki shorts, knee socks, and a pith helmet happened upon them. He was shocked and nearly fainted, but his boy servant photographed the sinful sculptures, and that is how their fame spread virally as Victorian pornography sold under the counter. Pornography? Nothing could be further from the truth. The temples of Khajuraho are the best preserved architecture of India. Some 20 extraordinary buildings strewn across an otherwise featureless plain. Temples that have been lost in the jungle for centuries.
所以上面的是刚开始，中间的是它中间的阶段的，下面是快结束的。
Namaste. Om Namah Shivaya.
The traffic jams in and out of the Maha Kumbh Mela stretched for kilometers. Our road from Khajuraho to the Prayag was one of the main supply lines, so we had to pass the long line of trucks.
Om Jajagrado Duram Sudai Didai Vandaru Syatai Vedi Duranga Manjoti Gam Jotire Kantan Me Mana Siva Sankalpamastu. We are very fortunate to be between Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati, and this is the Amrita. The Devata put Amrita here. Who take here bath or who dip here, they get immortal and enlightenment. Jai Gurudev.
Jamna ji is coming from this side. Ganga ji is coming from this side. You can show that thing also. And there is one more river from here. Godavari, Saraswati. It's hidden one. So, and it flowed back to this reverse direction. Ganga ji is coming from this side and again going back.
The water is really different here than on shore. Totally
the water of Jamna ji is very black, something, and Ganga ji is some muddy one. And for the Saraswati, you will see bubbles. At Triveni, you will see Sangam, you will see bubbles. That bubble is Saraswati.
It was the largest gathering I've been to ever. And the humanity, the sea of humanity from across the river. I was on one side and they were all on the other. Everyone was everywhere. But across the river, to look as far as you could see, to the left and the right, masses of people from a distance. And they're all just buzzing over there. It was just kind of amazing. I mean, it's such a unique experience just in that level alone. But then when you get over there and you're among the people, and there's so much, I don't know, love in the air, the brightness of the faces, and some people come right up and want to meet you, maybe because I'm from the West. And this intense, radiance and love and peace is very cool.
In the midst of millions of people, I always felt safe. In fact, I kept running into people I knew. And I made a lot of new friends. Nothing makes you feel more like home than when you hear young boys running down the street, shouting your name. Health-wise, the only issue I had was blisters on my feet from all the walking. The first written evidence of the Kumbh Mela can be found in the accounts of Chinese monk Zhuang Zhang, who visited India in the 6th century. Similar observances date back many centuries when the river festivals first started getting organized. One of the main attractions of the Kumbh Mela are the parades of sadhus, or holy men, and the Naga Babas who may not wear clothes even in winter. The right to be Naga or naked is a sign of separation from the material world. Sadhus travel to the Kumbh Mela from their caves and remote mountain sanctuaries to make themselves available to the public only at these events. This allows pilgrims to interact with the sadhus and to take darshan. Darshan focuses on the visual exchange with the holy man, and the pilgrim is able to visually drink divine power. Other activities include religious discussions, devotional singing, mass feeding of holy men and women, and religious assemblies. Our camp provided 3 meals a day. We ate lots of fresh papaya, and although our cabins had no windows, there was hot water for showers, electricity to charge our batteries, and Wi-Fi. My bed was as hard as a rock slab. I think I would have preferred to sleep on a bed of nails. Some of our neighbors' accommodations were even more primitive.
Yeah, as you know, the Indian culture is so amazingly hospitable and caring and loving and open, and it's just amazing, touching, totally touching, like brothers, like family.
That was my experience when I met and bonded with Pandit Sati at my camp at the Prayag.
And then I joined the Maharshi. I was government teacher, and that's who want to go to foreign country, please come. And I said, yes, I want to go. And when I came to Mahersinagar, what is your father's name? I said, Pandit Moti Ram Sethi. I know, you bring your father. Yeah. He was the Pandit of the Gurudev also, no? Doing pujas and everything. We are teachers from that place. Just like we have 10 or 15 villages. And then we are just like a guru from there, in the local places. It means when baby born, they ask name and everything. Then cutting ceremony, there are 16 sanskara. Then we perform for our people. My father well known. And then this 16 sanskara, giving name, Nam Karana, Annaprasan, cutting hair ceremony, starting to Vedas, and then marriage ceremony. Then also after dying, we have to ceremony. But now people only know the 3 ceremony: birth, marriage and death. I know around 200 ceremonies between its gap. And I am very lucky to be born on that family. My grandfather was also Vaidyas and Jyotish.
There was plenty of time for shopping and people watching. I loved how everyone was always ready to mug from my camera.
Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Gurudev.
During the Mahakumbh Mela, there was lots of attention put on cleaning and preserving the Ganges River through the Ganga Action Parivar.
The Ganga, Saraswati and Yamuna, they look dirty because those are not so much educated people who comes every day here. They bring all things, even then for sleeping this grass. And after going they put in the Ganga, they don't know. But it is a mother as a son. Then if he do something, unusual, then mother never angry. Then Ganga never angry. What they put. Now the time for the intelligence people. We have to start to clean the Ganga. Then everybody will clean. And it is going on. Yesterday I speak with this Ganga cleaning. The all great Sri Ravi Shankar and Muniji Chidanandji and our minister, chief minister. I was there and I speak about the Ganga. Who is doing it? We are doing. We have to start first. Then all public will start. And one day Ganga is still okay. It's very pure. This Gangotri, Yamunotri, Badrinath, the pure Ganga. Then rainy season comes, then it goes automatically. That's why season we have the 4 season minimum. After this July and August to clean the Ganga, automatic too much rain comes. Then it clean all things.
I ran into an old friend, Prudence Farrow Bruns.
Anybody can learn TM, and then scholarships for them to go on and get advanced technique, go on and get the cities, and also learn to be teachers at TM. So we want to
I was fortunate to sit next to Prudence among a host of international dignitaries at the inauguration of the Maharshi Samadhi Smarak that took place during the Mahakumbh Mela in tribute to Maharshi Mahesh Yogi, who passed away in 2008. Prudence was the subject of the song Dear Prudence, one of 40 songs written by the Beatles in Rishikesh in 1968. She was only 19 when the Beatles came to India to practice transcendental meditation. For many people in the world, this was the first introduction to meditation, yoga, and classical Indian music. The Maharshi Smarak is a spectacular handcrafted structure that can be seen overlooking the Sangam visible from everywhere from the Prayag. At the Kumbh Mela in 1989, Maharshi Mahesh Yogi met with Vedic pundits and performed an auspicious ceremony for the original foundation of the Maharshi Samadhi Smarak. One of the honored guests was the Shankaracharya of Jyotirmath, who presides over one of the most important seats of Vedic knowledge in northern India. More than 1,000 delegates from 120 countries would camp at the sprawling 600-acre ashram. Soon after the celebration started, the rain started to pour down and continued for 36 hours straight. After the ceremony, I was planning to go to Varanasi. Prudence gave me some great advice. She advised me to have a guide show me around. Fortunately, Pandit Sati offered me the last seat on the bus with the group he was traveling to Varanasi with.
Lakshmi Narayana Narayana Narayana. Okay. Jai Gurudev. Welcome to Kashi. We are in Banaras city. It's very busy city, but lot of good flowers are there. All one road, all car, vehicles, cycles and pedal. All people go together, even then cow. We have nice fruits.
Chickens.
We have little bit dirtiness also. But this is okay. People sleep in the street. Yes. Vegetable, very good vegetables without chemicals.
Varanasi is also worthy of being called Tirtharaj, the king of pilgrimage sites. A Tirtharaj, in terms of sacred geography, is a place where heaven meets earth. This city is thought to be the oldest living city in the world, with 3,500 years of documented history. Varanasi is also India's spiritual theme park, home of one of the most important Shiva temples in India, the Kashi Vishwanath Temple, the site of one of the 12 Jyotirlingams in India. There are an estimated 23,000 religious temples here. What better way to experience Varanasi than to take a boat ride along the banks of the Ganges with two pundits chanting the Vedas in the ancient Sanskrit language.
Etavanasya mahimato jayasya puruka padosya visva bhutani tripadasya mridandivi tripadaurdha udayat puruka padosya bhavat punaha tado bhagwan nasane abhi Sado Viradajayat Virajo Adipurukha Sajato Atiyarichyata Pashad Bhumi Matho Puraha Tasmadere.
Varanasi was formerly known as Benares, or Kashi, which means the luminous. Shiva is said to have appeared here as a Jyotirlinga, a fathomless column of light. Varanasi is a city devoted to Shiva, the great Lord of Time. Shiva's home is Mount Kailash in the Himalayas. Kailash is also known as Mount Meru, the center of the universe, where Shiva is known as the High Mountain Yogi. Though Shiva dwells in Kailash and Varanasi, he also dwells everywhere. There is scarcely a village in India without a shrine devoted to Shiva, most prominently in the form of the linga, the rounded stone. Varanasi is known worldwide for its many ghats, which are riverfront steps leading to the banks of the river Ganges. There are 87 ghats. Most of the ghats are bathing and puja ceremony ghats, while a few are used exclusively as cremation sites. They include Dash Ashwamed Ghat, where the Ganga Puja is performed, and Marnikarnika Ghat, where the dead are cremated. It is believed that death and cremation in this city will bring salvation.
Sarvagum Shanti Shantireva Shanti.
Varanasi is also home to Benares Hindu University, one of Asia's largest residential universities. This was one of the rare occasions where I was allowed to bring my camera into a sacred temple. You can see the worshippers whisper their prayers into the ear of the Hindu god.
Om Sahasrasirika Puruva Sahasraksha Sahasrapata Sabhumikung Sarvatasmitva Tyatistashu Shankar Bhagavan ki Jai Bole Nandishwar Bhagavan ki Sarikani Nama Sankrandano Nimkai Kabira Shadagum Sena Ajay Sagamindra Sankrandano Nimkai Kabira Om Hari Om Asu Sisano Prikapurnami Moghana Kanakshobana Sarikani Nama Bole Shankar Bhagavan ki Bole Shankar Bhagavan ki
These are the burning ghats. For many Indians, this is their final resting place. The dead are cremated on the banks of the Ganges, and their ashes dispersed into the water. George Harrison so loved India and this ancient tradition that after he passed away, he had his cremated remains put in the Ganges and Yamuna rivers near Varanasi. We are headed to Sarnath, a city near Varanasi. The deer park in Sarnath is where Buddha first taught the Dharma, or cosmic law and order. Buddha is believed to have founded Buddhism here around 528 BC, when he gave his first sermon, The Setting in Motion of the Wheel of Dharma. We were able to follow along with a group of Buddhist monks who were recreating that first sermon for their followers. There's a timelessness about Varanasi, the scene of pilgrims doing their devotions in the Ganges River at sunrise and sunset against the backdrop of centuries-old temples in the 87 named ghats is one of the most impressive sights in the entire world. In one sentence, Mark Twain extolled the greatness of Varanasi. He said, "Benares is older than history, older than tradition, older even than legend, and looks twice as old as all of them put together." Varanasi is also known for its silks, musical instruments, and places of learning. Nearby is Kashi Vishwanath Temple, and the most important Shiva temple in India. In order to get into the temple, you have to empty your pockets, go through metal detectors, and walk barefoot through narrow, muddy passageways. No cameras are allowed.
And what are you going to do?
I go jump.
All right, let's see you do it.
Okay.
Go.
One of the new friends I made was Acharya Haryom.
Yeah, Rigveda generation in my fathers, in my grandfathers, because there's Gotra is Kashyap, my Gotra is Rigveda, so I was my grandfather is learned Rigvedas and my fathers learned Rigvedas. So also I had learned Rigvedas because I'm interested in it and I like it chanting mantras on the Rigvedas and Rudrabhishek and any Chandipat, any Vedic mantras I've proud of. I have Rigved Panjitas. And I'm chanting any mantras and my I'm teaching in my students and my also I will teach in my son in my next generation. I will give any direction for the anybody chant Vedas and Rig Vedas, Vedic science and follow Vedic science.
Acharya Haryom took me to visit his college. This was the first Sanskrit college in India for girls. It takes 13 years to learn the Vedas. In addition, the girls learn martial arts and archery starting at age 9. The learning of Sanskrit and the Vedas was the domain of men only for thousands of years. Religious decrees barred women from entering temples or chanting or listening to the Vedas.
Learning Ved mantras, chanting mantras, and spirit yajnas also. And morning time, walking up, I walk for 4 o'clock. After this, is routine start 4 o'clock and praying and eating. And after then, eat take breakfast. After then, take class. Here from going every countries and students for the chant Ved mantras, Ved pathas everywhere.
This school was founded in 1971. It started as a primary school with just 4 students in a small house.
Later at night at the Arti, he's the organizer. He's when it's a color brochure and he's the one in all the pictures. You should sit right in front. Come at 5:45, so we came early, and he sat us absolutely the first 4 people.
The Ganga Arti is the final chapter of our immersion into ancient Indian culture and visits to the Tirtharajas at the Prayag in Allahabad and here in Varanasi. The Ganga Arti is held every evening after sunset, with large crowds gathered on the Ghat along the banks of the Ganges River. The river is personified as a goddess. It commences with the blowing of a conch shell and continues with the waving of incense sticks in elaborate patterns, encircling of large flaming lamps that create a bright hue against the darkened sky. The movement of the lamps, held in the pundit's hands, is tightly synchronized to the rhythmic chants of hymns and the clang of cymbals. The heady scent of sandalwood thickly permeates the air. A group of boats filled with devotees come around the place of the Arti at the bank of the river to see the Agni Puja performed to the Lord Shiva, Mata Ganga, Surya, and Agni, the fire god.
निःशेष लीजिए शीतला भवानी की शीतला भवानी की बोलो श्री गंगा मैया की जय
जय जय शिव ओंकारा हर 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 ओंकारा जय जय शिव ओंकारा हर 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 ओंकारा
जय जय शिव ओंकारा हर 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 ओंकारा
जय जय शिव ओंकारा हर 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 ओंकारा
जय जय शिव ओंकारा हर 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 ओंकारा
जय जय शिव ओंकारा हर 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 ओंकारा जय जय शिव ओंकारा हर 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 ओंकारा जय जय शिव ओंकारा हर 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 ओंकारा जय जय शिव ओंकारा हर 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 ओंकारा
जय जय शिव ओंकारा हर 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 ओंकारा
जय जय शिव ओंकारा हर 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 ओंकारा जय जय शिव ओंकारा हर 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 ओंकारा
with the Vedic vibration, Vedic chanting. You know, when the Veda is written, if you listen the Veda, automatically you feel the transcend. And if you are chanting, then more. If you are memorized, then more. Vadatu Sanskritam, Likhatu Sanskritam, to speak, to listen, it has some points. You see, the night, whole night, they are chanting the Sanskrit, the mantras, the Nigyas. Even then we have no enough time for meditation, but it fulfill it.
Right.
Only these days, not always.